What's up, ladies and gents? Mr. A to the J in the building. Mr. Alex Jeffries coming here live and direct to you with another LeverageX Masterclass. So I'm here with my dear friend, one of my best friends in the world. I would say more like my big brother, if I'm being honest. And by the way, Adam, I had coffee with David today. I didn't send you the picture, but Dave Lovell.
Oh, you did? Oh, okay.
Yeah, I had coffee with him earlier. So you know, me and Adam go way back. We come from the same city. Dave, was that your best man at your wedding? Was he?
He was, yeah.
He was the best man. So I had a coffee with his best man at his wedding today. And you know, Mr. Davies, this is what I'm going to say here. How I look at it is we were business partners, and you know, we went our own ways. And Adam's doing some incredible things, you know, his direction, you know, I'm focused on my direction. We're doing, you know, what we're doing, but I always go back to this guy for advice. And I would say, even though he's like my big brother, he is my number one mentor. And I've got some amazing mentors. You know, I think I've got some of the world's leading people in, you know, you had, you know, some of them at our last mastermind, you know, but Mr. Davies has got me out of trouble more times than anyone else, and that's entrepreneurship. You know, is you grow, and if you don't get the stabilizers in place, you know, things can fall apart. So, very logical guy, and I don't need to hype it up anymore. Mr. Davies, I love you, and it's over to you.
Wonderful, thank you, Alex. What's up, guys? How's it going? So, yeah. Alex asked me to kind of come on and chat with you guys about Facebook ads mostly. So Facebook ads, I've been running Facebook ads since 2016. I've spent millions of dollars on Facebook and also on Google, and now we're running TikTok ads and Snapchat ads. But still, Facebook is still one of the easiest ways to get leads and get customers, even with all the changes that have happened since iOS 14. So I don't know if you guys are aware of that, but essentially Apple, which most of the smartphones in the world, I believe, are Apple. It's, you know, they got a majority share of the market. What they made people do, all these apps, you have to basically ask permission now to track people. So Facebook has basically asked you, hey, do you want us to track what you're doing when you kind of leave our platform? And I don't know the updated numbers, but last time I checked in, it was low percentages, like 3% of people clicked allow, right? So most people are saying no to Facebook on tracking them. So what that means is that it essentially broke Facebook. So how Facebook works is that, you know, the pixel essentially tracks you when you leave their website. So let's just say you're running an ad, someone clicks your ad, they go to your website, purchase something. What was happening originally was there would be a purchase pixel event, usually on a thank you page of some sort, post-purchase page, whatever that may be, or post-application page. For you guys, or post even opt-in page. So when someone puts their lead in and then they see the content behind the opt-in, Facebook then would then track that and be able to send back and tell itself, hey, someone did something. And so Apple's change completely broke Facebook. And to be honest with you, it's still broken to some degree, in the fact that it's really trying its best to fix everything. And so what this essentially means is that it's got a lot harder on Facebook to generate leads and sales. However, with that being said, this for me is not a bad thing, because it's got rid of all the kind of dross, the kind of low-hanging fruit stuff that people were in on, and essentially what it now focuses on, the people that do well on Facebook. You can't just kind of run up. Back in the day, you could, you know, write some crappy copy, throw something up, and you would get sales or leads or whatever you're trying to achieve. And that's gone now. The costs have gone up dramatically, and you can't just throw up crap against the wall and hope for the best. So what it's done is all the kind of the people with the not so good copy, the not so well thought out creative angles, poor strategy, they're kind of struggling. They're not able to get the return on ad spend, or the POAS, the ROAS and the POAS, the profit on ad spend. They're not able to get that to the numbers they want. And so the people that are doing well on Facebook still are really the people who understand this, and now they're putting more emphasis on creative. So creative now is more important than ever, and that's why really what I'd like to discuss today is the creative side more than anything, because you can go onto YouTube and you could find basic stuff on setting up your account and installing the pixel and all this kind of stuff that everyone eventually knows how to do. But the people who really have the edge are going to be the people who have good creative and a solid strategy behind that creative. And that isn't just being a great copywriter, it's being a really good and smart business strategist. That's what's going to allow you to win in these times, because it's getting more competitive. It's prices are going up, customer acquisition costs are going up. And so this has been happening for years, with Facebook quote unquote being broken. And there, I'll give you some ways how you can help alleviate the breakage from Facebook, and how you can kind of try and bridge the gap between getting to fixed. I will cover that, and I'll talk about things that you need to implement to do that. But I really want to make the emphasis on the creative and the strategy behind what you guys are really doing, because without that, you'll struggle. You may get some sales in the beginning and you'll be like, yay, this is it. We've done it. We did it, baby. And, but what will happen is, as you scale, as you broaden your horizons, and maybe you want to build a team. I don't know. Maybe you want to build a sales team, or whatever your plans are. You can be a one-person band, if you want as well. But as you kind of grow, you will hit a ceiling, and you'll be wondering what's going on, and you'll just see your margins start to shrink, and you'll be trying to figure out what happened. And sometimes it's too late. And then you have to kind of pivot and start again from scratch. You have to scrap everything and figure it out again. And that, everything you built, you have to kind of take apart and redo. So, I want to kind of cover things that are going to set you guys up for success, the real kind of fundamental foundational things, so that you kind of don't get it wrong in the beginning and have to do crazy pivots all the time, trying to kind of revitalize the business. So and at the end of the day, there's always going to be pivots in the business, but if you start off on the wrong foot, the pivots have to be so extreme, and restarting, and and really kind of starting from scratch again, which usually means like no income for some period of time, or whatever, or definitely low amount of income. And so we don't want that. We want cash flow. We want consistency. You want to be able to build a good nest egg for the rainy days in the business and in your personal lives, right? You don't want to be feast or famine constantly, wondering like what's going on, why are these other people able to just continue to grow, and why am I always stalling? Why have I got my face in the wind? And why is it just such an uphill struggle? It's a lot of the times there's fundamental issues with the business. And I say this from experience, because I've been on the other side whereby I haven't got these things in place, and I've had to use a heck of a lot of skill, marketing and sales skills, just to kind of like keep going. And it's exhausting when you haven't got the wind in your back pushing you forward. And so I'd like you guys to avoid that as best as you can, get the foundation set up. And from my 10 plus years doing this, I've been saying 10 years for like 5 years now. I don't know how long it's actually been. 10 plus years doing this, you know, all the kind of mistakes that I've made and things that I wish I knew a long time ago. So I'll just kind of dive into it, you know, what I want to share with you guys. So on Facebook, I'll just give you this kind of overarching thing that you're trying to achieve, right? There's essentially, you're trying to find a winning combination with a campaign that you run. And the winning combination essentially comes down to three main things, which is the creative, right? The ad, the copy, image, the headline, the text, the body copy, the video, like just the creative, it's whole encompassing thing. And the second thing is the audience. Obviously, you need to be showing that creative to the right people. So that's the second thing. And then the third thing is the funnel. In this instance, we can maybe just target it down to kind of the landing page for now, just to get the leads. But essentially, it's the funnel, right? And when I say the funnel, I'm talking about the landing page. I'm talking about the VS. So Alex, are most people on here doing VSL funnels? Is that who we're speaking with? Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. So that makes it simple. So the funnel, right? And the funnel being the landing page and the VSL and the way you get people to apply or schedule a call with you, and then even the thank you page. And then of course, then it goes into the phone and the scripting and everything else. So that's the entire funnel I'm referring to. But for this instance, I'm going to kind of focus on the creative, the audience, kind of the landing page for now. That's what I'm going to focus on, because the other stuff, I think Alex is helping me with the other stuff more, the VSL, get it converting VSL, the sales process and all that stuff. So I'm not going to cover that today because we'll be here for 3 weeks if we did that as well. So I'm just going to focus on the creative, the audience, and really kind of a landing page that people, when they click on your ad, the first thing they see. Okay, let's focus on those three things, because those are the things you have to figure out. It's kind of like a combination lock, you know, like you're trying to crack a safe and you kind of turn in the dial and you just hear it click and you want to kind of get it all to line up. So it's really important that you guys have those three things fit into place, because you can have great creative, but if the audience isn't right, it doesn't matter. Or you can have an amazing landing page, but the creative isn't right, it's going to cost too much for people to see it. And then obviously if your creative is no good, then your cost per click is going to be too expensive and it's not going to work. So those three things you have to dial in. And essentially, a lot of it comes from testing, right? There's really no such thing as like a great marketer. It's really an experienced marketer, I find, and a really great tester. You know, that's what a really good marketer is. It's someone with a lot of experience and really good at testing. They become the best marketers, because otherwise it's all just theory. You can read that in books, you know, hope for the best. And that's still important, but essentially it's being in the weeds, testing things, getting direct market feedback to really craft the messaging and the strategy, you know, because you should all be starting out with a solid strategy. You should be looking for competitive advantages in your space, but essentially those things are going to evolve on the fly, and they evolve from the people implementing. Essentially, it's the feedback. And I'll give you an example of that just recently in my world. So, you know, I've built sales funnels, phone funnels, just like you guys are building for a long time. But more recently, I started a beverage business on the side first, and that's become my full-time thing. We raised a couple $1 million to launch it. Very thirsty business. Pardon the pun, as they say. It's a very thirsty business. It needs a lot of cash, and you really need to figure out the strategy early on as you're positioning in the market, because you're fighting for a lot of people. Drink beverages, they can drink water, they can drink Coca-Cola, they can drink Red Bull. There's all these beverages, and then different sections of the market have different things. So to get in that space, you really need a good strategy. You really need good positioning, and really the first to market advantage is going to be huge. And I'm always looking for that now. Is the first to market advantage. There's nothing quite like it. If you can be the first to market with something, with an offering, with a type of thing, then you're so far ahead of the curve initially. You can really get some footing, you get some market share. You can try and be a star business being market leader, and a compound annual growth rate at CAGR of over 10%. I don't want to go into too much detail on that, but if you want to learn more about star businesses, I recommend reading The Star Principle by Richard Koch. Amazing book. That is just almost fundamental to what I'm going to be talking about today anyway, about positioning and strategy. So it's called The Star Principle by Richard Koch, K-O-C-H. Highly recommend that book. And I'll give you some other book recommendations as well today, this morning, or this evening, depending where you are in the world. So, essentially what's going to be really important for you guys is making sure that your initial strategy when starting out is going to be solid, and not make it so that you're banging your head against a brick wall every single day, wondering what's going on. Why is this so difficult? Why is this so hard? Why isn't this just kind of smoother? Why is there so much resistance to making sales? Like, what's going on? And the biggest key to getting around that and getting around your resistance and having a smoother business. Now, look, even with all this, business is still challenging. There's still going to be things that are going to, there's still going to be problems to solve. But that's what we are, right? As entrepreneurs, we're problem solvers, right? That's what we do. And that's where you get the big bucks, solving the biggest problems, right? The bigger the problem, the more you get paid. However, if you are doing this without what I'm about to share with you, it's just really difficult. And you're essentially relying on skill sets and really hardcore marketing, sales. You have to really kind of use deep manipulation to make the sale and all kinds of stuff, because essentially the offer and the messaging is pretty weak or been seen before. And so that kind of leads me to what I want to talk about, first of all, which is you have to be different. You have to be different in your market, and you should be able to answer the question, why should someone buy from you versus any and all other options in the marketplace? Like, I would write that down. Why should someone buy from you versus any and all other options in your marketplace? If you can't answer that question, you have a serious problem. And I mean really genuinely answer, not like, oh, because I'm the best coach in the world. Like, no. Like, why should they actually buy from you versus other people? Like, what in the deliverables, in the offer, what makes you different? What's the value proposition? Like, what's your unique value proposition? And that's really something that I wouldn't even run a single ad if I didn't know the answer to that, and if I didn't know my unique value proposition. Because if your answer is something where someone else is already doing exactly the same thing, then you are on the back foot. Now, if the market is very new and you're second to market, okay, I can live with second to market on something. If the opportunity is big and okay, I don't have the first mover advantage, but we are second and we are giving some differentiation to our offering. to the point whereby we can share this market with number one, you know, Coca-Cola, Pepsi, you know, kind of like Red Bull, Monster, that kind of thing, right? There is, you can be second, and you can even be third, fourth, fifth, or whatever in some regards as well, if there's enough differentiation and you find a kind of niche within a niche in that market. And that's what I'll talk about as well in a moment. But essentially, that's really what you want to be focusing on. It's like, what is my unique value proposition? And essentially, how can I be different? And so to do this, how to be different and how to be unique, you have to do market research, right? You have to look at the competition. And so that means using Google. That means using tools like adspy.com, just adspy.com, and looking at ads on YouTube and TikTok, Facebook. You can use Facebook ad library. TikTok shows it's creative as well. It has its own creative library. And you have to play prospect. You have to see what people are offering and really look at it. And so you want to be looking at, like, who are the big boys and girls in my marketplace? What are they offering, and what aren't they offering? Like, how can I be different? And like, what's the problem with their offer, or what can I do where I can provide more unique value? Okay. And so I'll give you an example of that. Essentially, myself and Alex, when we built an Inc. 5000 coaching business, and we were teaching people kind of info publishing, and then we decided to coach coaches on business. So we show people how to get clients. And so that was in 2016 when we started, and we actually did it wrong in the beginning, and this is what I learned from our mistakes here. In the beginning, we looked at what other people were doing. We looked at the kind of Ruffinos, the Sam Evanses, and we're like, okay, that's working. They're doing well. Let's just model what they're doing. And it was borderline copying to a degree. We knew that we had our own unique stuff on the back, but our messaging, our marketing on the front was the same. Okay. So even though we were unique on the back in the program, no one could see the program until they pay $10,000, and that's I think $9,000-10,000 we were originally charging at the time. You can't even see that. So what we were doing, we were copying the marketing, because we basically saw Rufino, and then Sam Evans had copied Rufino to some regards, and then we copied Sam Evans to some regards, right, in 2016. And there was a fundamental mistake there. And what the mistake was is, you can model what works, but you have to look at what they're doing and be different in some way. You have to be a little bit different. And so initially we copied them. Yes, we made money, but it was a struggle. It was kind of like, man, this isn't flowing. You know, we'd come from a business that was flowing nicely. We'd grown very quickly. But why, by the way, is because we were different. No one was doing what we were doing. That's why it flowed, right? And so we went from doing something different naturally, just for years doing something different, not copying a soul ever. Literally didn't copy anyone. I actually didn't even look at what the other people were doing, which is a mistake. But it worked out because, just kind of naturally was so different, it worked. And some people do that as well. I think Gary Vee says he doesn't look at anyone and he's unique. And so it's not wrong in some ways. It can work out, but it's also good if you're going into a market. It's good to know the competitive landscape, right? If you want to have a solid strategy, because sometimes you can do something and you're accidentally doing the same thing as someone else, and you're wondering why it's not working. So I think there's a real benefit to looking at the competitive landscape and finding your competitive advantage there. Something that's going to position yourself away from someone. And be different and be able to make profits from what you're doing. Because that's really what it's about, guys. It's about profit in the business. You should be focused on profits. And that's really it. Without profit, it's not a successful business. And you can't grow, you can't hire more people, you can't create more jobs. you know, it's detrimental to yourselves, the company, and the economy as a whole, right? So being different is really important. So what Alex and I did, first of all, we kind of were similar to what was in the market, and it was kind of like, this is kind of this isn't flowing. This feels difficult, and that happened for several months, and then it came to a point where it was like, hey, you know, how can we have a better offer? How can we have a unique offer that other people aren't offering? So we looked at everyone else. Everyone was selling the course on how to get clients with paid ads and how to build a coaching program, right? That was it. But whilst we were doing that, we were still doing that. So we were still teaching something relatively similar. How we create differentiation, it really came from phone calls. And so I was on the phone, Alex was on the phone. And what people were saying the big objection was, oh, but I bought programs like this before, and the tech stuff's really difficult. I was having problems, and I felt like I didn't get the support I needed, and I was just left there in this mess, this tech headache, and I couldn't get any results. You know, it was just a waste of money. This sounds like the same thing, so I'm not interested. You know, and so we'd have to do verbal acrobatics and hardcore sales and marketing and, you know, influence, persuasion to really kind of get people to buy, you know, and, you know, just being a great salesperson, you can do that and you can make profit. We were, right? But it wasn't smooth. It wasn't easy. It wasn't flowing to us. It wasn't like a water hydrant of success. It was a dripping tap, and we're just splashing this thing in our face, you know, trying to get these drops. It was difficult, you know. We made it work to a degree, but it was difficult. And so where we made the change and where we saw an explosion in the business and the sales and the profitability of the company was when we made this one change. And what we did was we looked at it like, okay, we're often the same as everyone else. Something's not right here. We need to be different. And so what we added was we added a done with you element to the program. So everyone was offering like, here's a password, here's logins to the program, and there's a Facebook group and a coaching call, whatever. What we did a done with you. So we were like, hey, look, we know that you probably tried these other programs before, and maybe you haven't had success. So what we realized was that people really need help in tech. So what we're going to do is we're going to work with you on writing the copy, and you can message us in Zendesk anytime you want. Send us an email, and we'll get back to you personally. You know, and we had this advantage here where we didn't use coaches at the time to coach people. It was us. And so that was another thing we used. And again, these things have to develop as you grow, right? Sometimes you can't be the only coach when you grow bigger. But in the beginning, we were like, we're doing the coaching anyway. Let's just sell that, you know, and say, you actually get us. And they couldn't believe it. Well, I get to email you. You actually respond? Yeah, absolutely. Wow. Okay. That was one thing. Plus, my team will actually build the funnel for you. We will work with you on copy. We'll brainstorm. You know, we'll give you templates. You send us in your copy. We'll look at it. We'll review it. We'll send it back to you. And then we'll send it over to our tech team. They'll build the funnel for you. So no one was offering that how we were offering it. There were other companies charging 40, 50 grand for that, and they would do it all for you, but no one was offering this kind of in between a program and a done for you with this done with you offering in the coaching space. And so we did that. We put the price up to, I think, 14, 15 grand, depending on the payment plan. And so it was a nice high ticket. It only cost us like $1,000 for the tech team to build the funnel. And so the rest was training. So we're having these amazing margins, beautiful margins. The cost to acquire customer was more or less the same. In fact, it probably went down somewhat because the offer was better. So the cost to acquire customer went down somewhat because our offering was better. It was more unique. So now our CAC, customer acquisition cost, went down. Our average order value went up. And in that, we made more profit. We got more customers. And then, you know, we were in six figures of profit in about 30 days. You know, I think the first month we did it, we hit like 6 figures in profit, you know? And so that's just a great example of a relatively, at the time, crowded marketplace, more and more people coming, and we find a way to position ourselves with a unique value proposition. And by doing that, we're able to have a slight competitive advantage as us being the coaches. We took advantage of that. We're able to charge more. Now, other companies had a competitive advantage with not having them as coaches, but that was our different differentiator. And also as well, being the first movers on this type of offer as well, we're able to get credibility, testimonials, be those people who do that offer, you know, that just kind of helped us as well, which enabled us to have a nice profit essentially, and be more profitable than the other companies because of the margins we're able to do by offering this done with you. We're able to charge 50% more than they were charging, but the cost was a fraction of what we were doing. It was less than 10% of the actual cost of service, you know, which is the version of COGS in the service industry, cost of goods sold. So essentially, that was a big breakthrough for us. So I tell you this to give you some kind of understanding in what I'm saying of how you need to be different. You know, you need to position yourself differently, and you can do that in different ways. You can do it with your value proposition. You can even do it by finding a new marketing channel, and just an untouched marketing channel. Like, if people aren't using cold email in your niche, use cold email or LinkedIn DMs or direct mail. You can find a kind of uniqueness in that way and be different in that. You can even have the same messaging if you find something unique, because what you essentially want to do is you want to find what's called like a blue ocean. Okay, so there's a great book called Blue Ocean Strategy. I highly recommend you get that as well. Second book recommendation is called Blue Ocean Strategy. And what that book essentially talks about is red oceans and blue oceans. And what a red ocean is, it's an ocean whereby everyone's fighting for scraps, and it's red because it's bloody. You know, everything's eating itself. The fish are all getting chewed up by the sharks. You know, everything's eating itself, and it's just really bloody, and it's just like a mess, really, of everyone just fighting and looking for scraps. There's no food left. They're eating themselves, and that's really what a red ocean is. And a blue ocean is calm, almost no competition, plenty of food to eat. You can calmly eat. There's no, you haven't got people trying to destroy you. And that's what a blue ocean is. And so you have to find your blue ocean. And I can talk about ways of doing that, but I think what's probably more beneficial to you guys is if you buy the book Star Principle by Richard Koch and Blue Ocean Strategy. If you buy those two books, they will give you 103 ways to be different. And they'll give you tons and tons of case studies. One example in the Blue Ocean Strategy is the circus. And so essentially, I don't know if you guys kind of remember, or you barely see it much these days, the circus would come to town, and they would ride in all their trucks. They'd set up for the weekend or all the week, and they'd put on the shows, and they would bring in all the elephants and lions, tigers, and they'd kind of put these tents up, and these kind of hard wooden seats. You kind of sit there, and they would have these kind of circus acts and clowns and animals and all, elephants balancing on balls and all kinds of stuff, right? And that happened for a long time, and they did very well for it. But then eventually it started getting more and more difficult. It got difficult for different reasons. Competition started happening, and not just direct competition of other circuses was happening, indirect competition from people going to other things like movie theaters and TVs, and people staying home, and there's so many other things vying for your attention, that back in the day, the circus coming to town was a big event, and it became kind of like, yeah, might go, yeah, kind of seen it before, yeah, well, we went a couple years ago, maybe we'll go. It was kind of a bit crappy, kind of got a bit cold there, a bit uncomfortable, whatever. And so that was happening, and also as well, things were changing as far as laws and rules, and so they weren't allowed to, like, animal cruelty was getting in, and they were banning things, and so the circus, like, were losing the animals. They weren't allowed to use them anymore, and then it was just clowns juggling on a unicycle, just kind of like the shows just became crappier and crappier as it went on, for them anyway. There wasn't that kind of, wow, look at this, look at these crazy things, health and safety, animal cruelty. And it got harder and harder, and the margins went down and down, and the profits went down, and it was just looking like a really kind of not good business. And so one company saw the opportunity. They saw the red ocean of the circuses, and were like, well, this is a nightmare business to get into. This is a saturated market. This is not something that we want to do. So they looked at how they could be different, and how they did that was they had no animals, so they didn't have any of those issues. The tents were just a lot more luxurious. They're just a lot better. The seating was nice. There was like cushions on the seats, padding. They had better variety of food, drinks, VIP. They made this really nice circus experience, and they had something unique and different, which was also wow. And that company, Cirque du Soleil. And so Cirque du Soleil carved themselves out in the circus niche as being completely different, and dominated and became like the spectacle. And as you see, they're in Vegas, and they have their shows, and it's world famous company. And so they looked at the market of the circus, and they flipped it on its head and were different, had a unique offering. People who were like, hey, you don't want to sit in this kind of cold, damp tent with these hard wooden benches. Let's come here, sit back, champagne reception, beautiful hors d'oeuvres, snacks, high-end food, and all kinds of things as well. Just if you've ever been to a Cirque du Soleil show that comes to town, just in a much very different to the circus that I remember as a kid. And it's more expensive too. So they were able to put the pricing up, and they didn't have all the overheads of the animals and all that kind of stuff, and all the different things as well. So they just had these kind of acrobatics, and were able to put on an amazing show and charge more money for it as well. Their profit margins were better, and they were unique. So when they came to town, it was a big thing when Cirque du Soleil comes to town. And they sold out, months in advance in some cases. So very different from the circus of old. So this is something that you guys, have to be thinking about in your business, as to like how you can be different. And you really need to come up with unique messaging as well. So you have to be different in your offering, your value proposition, but also in your messaging as well. So let's talk about the messaging, how to come up with a unique hook for your market. And so what you guys have to look at is, when I come up for a hook for a market, when I'm consulting someone or working on my own business, I look at what stage of sophistication is the market at. Okay, so there's a market sophistication stages. How sophisticated is the market? Like has it seen this before? Does it know about it? Is this a new offering? Is it not a new offering? Like, how sophisticated are the buyers, essentially? Because there are markets that are clueless, and there are markets that are very smart. And to sell those markets, you have to, as they get smarter and smarter and more aware of the competition and all the offerings, it gets harder and harder and harder to sell them something. You have to be different, but you also have to do other things. And some markets are so sophisticated that you have to go to a whole other level of things, and you have to be a really top marketer for one, and crazy innovation constantly, and connect with the people on a deeper level. And I'll walk you through these stages really quickly. Another book recommendation, Breakthrough Advertising by Eugene Schwartz. I would say to Breakthrough Advertising by Eugene Schwartz. And the book went out of print, and then someone got the rights to it. Brian Kurtz, is it Alex? Brian Kurtz, I think Alex knows him through Genius Network. Brian Kurtz, I think his name is. He bought the rights to it from the family, and so now he actually brought it back into print again. So you can get it. I think it's breakthroughadvertisingbook.com. I believe you can get a copy. I think it's 125 bucks for the book. Expensive book, but it is, I would say it's the greatest marketing book ever written, I would say. If you don't know these principles, then I don't believe that you're going to be a great marketer or an experienced marketer or a great tester. I think it's really important you really understand the principles in the book, because otherwise it's going to be very difficult to know how to craft good messaging to your marketplace. And so he put it so succinctly in this book. It's an amazing book. It's a deep book. It's one you have to read, every couple of years just to remind yourself. And another book I highly recommend. So, these books are all foundational things. I highly recommend you get them. You can listen to Star Principle audiobook. You can listen to Blue Ocean Strategies. I think with Breakthrough Advertising, you have to read it. I think that's when you stick on the Kindle or you get the hard copy. It's one of those books that needs absorption. You need to read it. Like, okay, it's kind of a lot. It's a lot to take in, and it's not like an easy read, but it's a worthwhile read. So stage one of the market is essentially your first mover advantage. Okay, you have a new product or service the market has not seen or barely seen, and you are the first, if not one of the first, right? And so with that, the messaging can be very simple and straightforward, and which is essentially like, imagine no one's ever seen this before, which is like, drink this tea and lose weight, right? So it's drink this tea and lose weight. Very simple messaging. It's like, oh, what is this? What's this tea? You can lose weight from tea? What is this? Now people are interested in that. And that's if you're the first ever weight loss tea ever around. Again, we know that's not the case anymore. There's loads of them. So people have seen it. So that isn't where the tea weight loss market is. But if you're the first to market, you can have a very simple thing. Drink this tea, lose weight. Take this pill and lose weight. Very, very simple, very basic. That headline, that hook will get readers and get attention, and you can keep it simple. Yes, you have to do all the other stuff. I'm just talking about the hook now, the hook to get them, right? To get people interested. Stage two, there are other people selling like similar widgets to you. So you need to kind of differentiate your products from the rest by essentially expanding your original claim. Okay, so that's what you do. You just need to expand the claim. So if everyone's saying drink tea, lose weight, you would then expand the claim and say drink this tea and lose weight after just 7 days. Okay, to expand the claim. Oh wow, you're the first person now to be saying you can lose weight in 7 days. That's expanding the claim. Okay, drink this tea, lose weight in 7 days. Which is, another one. If you first market mover, it's like, hey, make a full-time income online. The second stage would be make a full-time income online in just 30 days using Facebook, so that's another thing. That's another level. Stage three, at this stage of the market, there are going to be lots of people selling similar products to you. So now you need to differentiate yourself with something unique that is beneficial. Okay. So what you want to do at this stage is you want to add in what's called a unique mechanism. Okay. And with the unique mechanism, you want to then stand out and be and there's different ways you can add a unique mechanism. So one example would be, drink this tea with Amazonian bark proven to increase your metabolism and lose weight in just 7 days. So then you you have a special kind of tea. Well, this isn't just any tea. This is Amazonian bark, which is proven to increase your metabolism. Look at these clinical studies, So you have a unique mechanism there. Another unique mechanism could just be like, first market mover is, get more clients for your coaching business. Then the next stage would be get more clients for your coaching business in just 7 days. The third stage is get more clients using TikTok in just 7 days for your coaching business. So you add a unique mechanism. You can just change it. So everyone's talking about Facebook ads. Everyone's talking about Pinterest. You could be the TikTok unique mechanism. That's another way to be unique mechanism. Again, if other people aren't doing it or whatever. You can also be unique and have a different niche. You can find other ways, but I'm just talking about one particular market here. Okay, if you're going into that market, if we take a step back and we look at other markets and other niches, then we're talking about something different. Then you find like a niche within a niche. You can find like, coaches doing 10K a month as a niche, and they have these specific problems and target them. And, there's different markets, but again, you have to look at the market sophistication and you see where that market is and what they know, like how evolved is the market? How sophisticated is it? Like how many messages have they seen? Because to stand out, to get the attention, you have to be different. You just have to be different. I know I keep saying that, but I can't stress it enough. And some people try and be different and try and be smart to be different, or they try and use marketing lingo to be different. And they, they're like, they give their system some name. But if the market's sophisticated, they'll look through the name and be like, well, what actually are you teaching? And they're serious teaching. Well, I've heard this before. So whilst I'm all for giving your systems unique names, you absolutely should be giving unique names and giving them things. In a lot of instances, is not enough. It has to fundamentally have some difference as well, or something that makes you position you different. Like for instance, there's a guy who has the Ask method. That's his method name, cool name. But then fundamentally, he's the quiz guy. He shows you all the quizzes, and not many people are teaching that. So he became specialized in quizzes. And so he had the name Ask method that good recall. But then fundamentally, if you look at what he's actually teaching, it is different as well. So just having a cool name on a program doesn't create a new mechanism. A lot of people make that mistake. They think, oh, I'll just call my webinar funnel some fancy name and I've created a new mechanism. No, that's not how you create. That's not a new mechanism. It's fundamentally has to be different. Otherwise, it's just smoke and mirrors marketing that you can get sales from it. But again, the more evolved people in the market, the people who really understand what's going on, they know it's bullshit, basically. I'm not saying don't have the name, but you're just putting lipstick on a pig, just have a name to something that's old and something that someone's already done before. You have to find something unique in your offering or your mechanism in the way you provide your services that's going to be different. Now, you can get away with things if like you're the only one to talk about that thing. And I'll give you an example. So this usually comes in stage 4. So not so much unique mechanism. So let me talk about stage 4. So stage 4, in this stage is where your competitors have caught up and everything's more crowded, noisy, it's fierce competition. So now you have to kind of switch up your marketing angles and prepare to remind people that you are the best option for the consumer. So you do that with like side-by-side comparison with your products and services. You should also highlight the features of your products that your competitors may or may not have. Maybe they're not highlighting them, and also show them it's better versus just telling them. So if you can show them it's better, that's another bonus as well. And you still want to aim to be unique in any ways you can by adding any unique features, benefits, or mechanisms as well. You should always be fighting for that innovation, but sometimes you just kind of have to improve your features and benefits in some ways to kind of be different with that. And again, it depends on how crowded the market is. Let's say it's the insurance space, super crowded, not much mechanism changing there. You have to just look at the features and benefits, and then it's like low rates and get a free holiday when you sign up, and find a niche. We offer the best insurance for these kinds of people. and this kind of stuff, and we give the biggest payouts, whatever it may be, you know, it starts getting more competitive. And then you kind of have to do like comparison charts. Like this is, you know, this is what we offer. This is what they offer, you know, check marks next to everything you offer, you know, crosses next to everything they offer. You know, you have to really kind of like show the difference between yours versus them. And it's very much feature orientated. If you can find a way to kind of reinvent yourself with a kind of new delivery mechanism, then that's great. Kind of like, you know, if you're a beverage company and you realize that you can create a powdered version of your drink that's just as good, but now it's more convenient, it's cheaper, they can take it on planes, whatever it may be, you know, that's kind of changing the mechanism in some ways and adding features and benefits to your deliverable as well. So that's kind of a mixture between stage 3 and 4. You know, these things can blur as well. You can still be in the middle of 2 stages, so to speak, and always look for innovation and pivoting as well. So that's stage 4. And, you know, with that stage, it's starting to get a lot harder at that point. It's starting to get a lot harder, a lot more fierce. You have to really be different. Stage 5 is the final stage. And at this stage, you know, this is the hardest. You know, the market's now fully saturated to some degree, and consumers already know so much about the industry. This is the red ocean. At this point, nobody believes in advertising anymore to some degree. They're very skeptical, at least for your industry. And now it's time to kind of give them a fantasy that they desire. It's time to kind of give them emotions and meaning with new experiences. And this is where you kind of focus on the consumers and, you know, what are their beliefs kind of thing, and find out a way to kind of get in touch with their emotions through your brand and not so much your product. And so it has to like mean something to them. One example of this, I saw one of Alex's buddy, Jordan, media buyer Jordan, Alex. I saw him do that successfully with a belt company. And so, like, they're selling belts, right? Made in the USA, good quality leather belts. That's it. Commodity, right? So many other people offering that. And Jordan was running the ads for this company. So he's like, okay, what do I do here? Like, this is, you know, we can't just say made in USA and the highest quality grain leather and hope for the best. That's just not going to cut it, because they're in stage 5. People know what belts they've seen. They've seen leather belts made in USA. There's nothing unique here. So a campaign that he ran that was really successful, and during these Facebook hard times of iOS, because the creative was so strong, he did something what's called a narrative ad, it's basically a narrative ad is an ad where you kind of have this person, this host, or this kind of talking head talk to the camera, and almost like a bit of a comedy sketch. If you type in a Dollar Shave Club ad into YouTube, you'll see one of the best narrative ads ever. The guy from Dollar Shave Club, I think he took like acting classes or something to do this ad. Amazing ad. They sold for like $1 billion to Unilever or Procter & Gamble, or one of those big companies. And the ad that kicked it all off is, if you look on Dollar Shave Club ad, you'll see which one it is. That's a narrative ad, funny ad. And it basically talks about product. They kind of, it's kind of like a skit. And what Jordan did, he did it for the belt. And he basically he was like, what are our target demographic? It's you know, a man, you know, macho kind of guy who's like drives a truck, you know, maybe wears a cowboy hat, wants made in America, leather quality, doesn't want crap from China kind of angle, you know, that kind of attitude. You know, he really got into their customers' heads. And they had this guy in the ad. He looked like that. And how it was basically a dad, you know, so it was like this tough guy dad, but they made it funny because it was like, you know, when I'm at tea pies and he's like, you know, drinking a little tea pie cup as if he's with his daughter, you know, when I'm at tea pies or fighting bad guys and he like punches someone, carrying bags for ladies, you know, it's just like kind of this very kind of tongue-in-cheek comedy sketch of an ad, and it was connecting with the prospect wasn't about, the belt was mentioned after all this, and it just really connected. It really kind of talked to the prospect like, yeah, this is me. Yeah, you know, fighting bad guys, carrying bags, but also drinking at tea pies with my daughter, you know, with all the dolls around the room. And you know, if you want that, you want a belt that can last, you know, all, you know, made in America, tough as grain, you know, as tough as you are, you know, that kind of ad. And it did really well because they focused on the person. They made it, and they created an emotional connection, and they found a meaning within, you know, oh, this is me, and so I want to wear this belt because I'm this kind of person. And so that's really what it became. And then, you know, Apple do it now, you know, it's very competitive space. Apple do it, you know, it's for the innovators, and you know, whatever they have. You go and look at some Apple ads, you can really see the latest ads. They make it about you. You know, these at this point now, you kind of have big ad agencies doing this. It's all emotional driven. A lot of TV ads are like this because it's just so competitive. You know, they just try and that's the final stage. Selling insurance, whatever. They make it funny, comedy. They really try and get into that. But I don't recommend you go into a stage 5 market, okay, unless you've got deep pockets and you're one of the world's best marketers, you know, or you know, you have resources to that. So I don't recommend stage 5, but I wanted to at least discuss it and be aware of that. So I see a lot of people who treat their market like stage 5 by talking to the customer and trying to get them riled up, when really if they just change their mechanism, it'd be so much easier. And so they're playing this stage 5 game because they're not differentiating themselves. You know, you're only at stage 5. You can't like find a unique mechanism. There's just like almost nothing left there, you know. But if you're in a market and you're playing a stage 5 game, trying to be a brilliant marketer with brilliant sales processes, and you know, you're making it so much harder on yourself. You know, you're just trying to manipulate people and ask questions and try and get them to come on board. And this is you. You know, it's just a lot easier if you have a unique mechanism. It just takes a lot less of that. And I'm not saying you don't do that as well to some degree, right? If you want to boost conversions, you still do all that stuff. But if you're having to do that just to survive and it's difficult, there's something wrong. It's fundamentally wrong. And usually it's going to be the offering. There's no uniqueness. There's nothing different about what you're doing. And you add all this amazing marketing stuff on top. And when you do that, that's when you just, you know, $1 million a month, $2-3 million a month, just kind of just starts exploding. But it all has to come together. So those are the 5 stages. Before I kind of go on to the next stuff, I just want to add, are there any questions, guys? Anyone, maybe Alex, you can facilitate this as, I'm not sure if I have host powers here.
It was just one question. Great stuff, by the way. I've taken loads of notes. I'll do a recap in a bit. How can we know what stage our audience is right now?
Yeah, you know, ultimately, it's going to be through market research. You know, you have to kind of look at what other people are offering, and if it's, you just can kind of see if it's fierce competition, if everyone's kind of fighting for things, and if what you're offering is going to be the same, really. And it's hard to kind of give an exact playbook on doing that. And sometimes you're like, you know, it's not an exact science to some degree. It's not like, oh, this is definitely a stage 3 market. It's like, yeah, this feels like stage 3 and stage 4. I feel like all the innovation's been done here. I can't see how we bring in a unique mechanism. So I feel like looking at the competition, everyone's kind of like comparison. And it's like, you have to kind of just find that unique feature or benefit that's going to kind of push it over. Or if you're able to kind of bring in a unique mechanism, then you can kind of position yourself out of that, and you can kind of almost, you know, turn a stage 4 market into a stage 3 in some ways, because you found something unique, or a new technology comes out and you have the patent for whatever. So, and again, you can also just find new markets. You can almost create new markets, right? So you can look at, you know, you can look at like the beverage space as a whole as like a stage 5, but then within the beverage space, there's the energy market, the energy drink market, and then there's the relaxation drink market, and then there's the collagen market. So there's all these little markets, and you just kind of have to like look and see like, are there segments of the market I can target? Whereas right now, I would say the energy market is probably stage 4. The energy drink market is probably stage 4. You've got Red Bull, you've got droppers, you've got pills, you've got a lot of different mechanisms going on there. But at the same time, if someone, like taurine became a big thing, if someone creates like this new mechanism of energy that's clean, that isn't caffeine, then you can almost argue that like, well, actually, you can almost create your own market and be like, well, I'm not in this energy market, I'm in the non-caffeine market, So that's another thing as well. So yeah, if there's not an exact science, really you have to kind of like understand these stages, be aware of them, look at the messaging, like I mentioned, Facebook ad library, using Google, TikTok creative library, magazines, newspapers, just kind of like look at what's being advertised, look at all advertising in that market, seek it out, look at it, how do you, become a prospect in that market, get emails, sign up to email lists, really see what's being sent. And by that, you kind of piece it together and be like, okay, wow, okay, the insurance market looks like stage 4 or 5. The cell phone market looks like, again, cell phone market was in stage 5, but then Steve Jobs created the iPhone, new, like almost a new market. And now the smartphone market is becoming more saturated because now they're fighting over like camera features, hey, this has 10 megapixels, this has 20 megapixels, so you just kind of like there's all these markets are always kind of evolving, constant innovation in most markets. And then there's segments within segments, and there's people who just throw everything out and be like, the old way of cell phones is done, now it's touch phones, smartphones, internet. And so then the smartphone market kind of gets into early stage, and then you're on stage 1 of the smartphone market, like Apple. And then as the market evolves, people know what smartphones are. Everyone has a smartphone. Everyone has a camera on their phone. Everyone has email. And it just kind of like evolves from there. And you can say that's, okay, now we're at stage 4 or 5, So it's just kind of like, again, no exact science. And you can use stage 5 marketing in stage 3 markets as well. I'm not saying you can't do that, but it's just kind of understanding, the competition and being aware of it and using competitive analysis, really. So that's kind of how you would do it. I would read breakthrough advertising, a few times, and then, because I just covered very, very quickly the stages. Breakthrough goes into a lot more detail with that. But yeah, you can kind of figure it out where you're at roughly. Like, yeah, this is very saturated, or we need a new mechanism would work here for sure. We can definitely put in a new mechanism. So that's kind of how it works. Can I get a list of tools to look at the competition? Yeah, just kind of what I said, Catherine. Yeah, Chad mentions Google Trends. Absolutely, just everything really. Ad Spy, Trends. Any kind of competitor analysis, Google, just kind of get out there and kind of look at what's going on. That's really what I would do there. And for me in the beverage space, like there's an industry magazine called BevNet, so I read BevNet every issue that comes out, and I see who's advertising in there. So I use that on Instagram and Facebook. If you click ads in your industry, you'll be served more of those ads. So I'm always clicking beverage ads and relaxate, because I have a relaxation beverage. I'm always clicking those kind of ads. And so I just get served these ads constantly. But you can also use Facebook ad library, use TikTok, the creative library in there. So do searches. So it's just being good at market research, really. And that's really going to help you get a feel for where things are at, in your marketplace. And sometimes, you're not going to get all the data you need. And sometimes, this is important to mention, you have to launch and test things out, and you kind of get feedback from the market. So sometimes like, yeah, I think this is a unique mechanism. I can't see anyone doing it. Let's see if it works. And sometimes that unique mechanism takes off. Sometimes it doesn't take off. You have to kind of like pivot a little bit and kind of, you know, change things around, which is why I love paid media, because you can launch an ad, you can create a landing page with a squeeze page, and you can just run ads to an audience, and you don't even have to have anything for sale. You can just be like, join the waiting list or something, come up with a unique mechanism, a unique hook. All you need is one landing page, opt in to join the waiting list, and that's it. You don't even have to have anything ready. So you can do market research and market testing without doing anything else. You can have something set up in days. You know, you got ClickFunnels now and Kartra or whatever. You know, there's all these different softwares available, and all you need is a landing page and some ads and Facebook, YouTube, Google, TikTok, whatever, and you can actually run some tests and see the response. You know, you can get, if you're getting like 80% opt-in rate on this offering, you probably got a good idea. It's probably worth pursuing and building it out. If you've got like 2% opt-in, it's probably not very good. You know, so you can kind of test hooks as well. But if you really want to do that, if you really are not sure, and it's a good way actually. My father's launching a makeup brand. It's a halal makeup brand. So he tells me that hardly anyone's doing it, hardly anyone's halal certified. And so he's creating the CC cream and mascara. So I keep telling him, because he's getting it all ready now, he's making it. I keep telling him, hey, just create a landing page, use Insta pages or ClickFunnels, lead pages, doesn't matter which one it is. They're all the same in most regard. They all keep changing their features to catch up with one another. And create a landing page and have an opt-in for a waiting list on this product. And let's see if this makes sense. Play around with the hooks, play around with the messaging, play around with the ads. So then when you finally have the product, you built a list, you can now promote to and say the wait is over, here we go. And secondly, you can just see, you can dial in the advertising, and you can also see if there's a demand for this thing, or like, you know, you're wasting your time. So Chad said, you said we need a creative ad, and can you share more on a solid strategy or how the ad fits into the strategy? I'm not sure I fully understand the question. Alex,
I guess he's saying, just how does the, because you were talking about the I think you were talking about the hook at the start. I think you were in like there, and then talking about the advert, and then you kind of went into the stages of the market. So I feel like he's still at the hook level.
Okay. All right. Makes total sense. Okay. So let's talk about the hook part, right? So I'll go over some hook frameworks and headline frameworks as well. So so this is like the market sophistication, okay? And this, what I first thought of market sophistication, and that's your core inherent offering, okay? And from that, you can get ideas of the creative and the hook just inherently from looking at the market and seeing the features and benefits and things like that. There's also something there's another thing in breakthrough advertising, which is also important, which is the stage of awareness of different buyers, okay? So you can have unaware people who just like never heard of this, don't know anything about the problem, the solution, or anything. Then you have problem aware buyers. These are people who know they have a problem. Let's just say they are stressed out, but they don't know the solution for stress. They just know they're stressed, right? The people who are unaware don't even really know they're stressed. Even though they're not acutely aware that it's stress that's the problem. They have the problem, but they're not aware that they have the problem as much. They're kind of just like not feeling good, and they're not aware that the problem is stress. Solution aware are people who know they're stressed. They know that there are solutions out there, but that's about it. You know, they know their solution. They know that you can get drinks to calm you down and stress you out, but you know, that's it. They're just kind of solution aware. They're aware of that. Maybe they're buyers of it. Maybe they're not. Maybe they're thinking about it. Maybe they're not. And then you have product aware. Then they actually know about you know, your particular product, usually your exact product or at least similar products to you. And they're very aware of it, and they may be thinking about it. They may like it, they may not like it, they may have an opinion on it. Usually have some opinion, they may not have an opinion. They're product aware. And then the most aware people are people who are usually buyers of that product. You know, they've used it, they know about it, they buy it, they're fully aware of it, and maybe they don't like that particular type of product, but they're fully aware of it, they tried it before, and they are buyers of it. Okay, so there's different stages of awareness of different buyers, right? And some markets can be like, if you're bringing something completely new, then they can be completely unaware, problem aware. No one knows about anything else. But usually you're not completely there. Usually there's a problem awareness of something, and they're looking, there's no solution available for it, and that's when it's really nice. If someone's really problem aware and things like that, and that's amazing. But in some markets, people aren't going to be completely aware of like smartphones before they existed, right? They're not aware of that kind of product even exists, so they're not aware at all. But in most markets, you'll have a range of unaware to most aware. So that's something I want to mention before I talk about hooks. Another book recommendation, they talk about the awareness, stage of awareness in breakthrough advertising, but I really like how Michael Masterson does it in Great Leads. It's called Great Leads by Michael Masterson. I really like how he covers the stage of awareness in there. He gives a lot of hook headlines. So Chad, that would be really good for you. I'm going to cover some quickly here, but if you want more detail on that, I recommend Great Leads by Michael Masterson. Really great book. Goes into a lot of detail on the different hooks and creative as well, to make sure that, you know, I guess the creative fits the strategy, so to speak, to make sure it lines up. So what you can do when you go on to run some Facebook ads, you can actually run ads for all the stages of awareness of the buyer. So you can have people who are unaware, problem aware, solution aware, product aware, most aware. You can test all of these type of ads, okay? So I'll give you some hook ideas. So if you're targeting people who are the most aware, what you would do then is really just in the ad, the hook, the copy, you would give an offer with your best deal. So that would be like, 10% off our calming tonic, you know, just like 10% off relaxation, this relaxation drink, just straight in with the offer. You know, they know about it. They're very aware. Maybe they bought it before, maybe they bought a competitor. So you can go straight in 10% off on calming tonic. Then you can sell a little bit, you know, any unique features and benefits there, but it's really like the offer is you're pushing that forward, and, you know, maybe you can find something, you know, ours contains the most CBD of any other beverage on the market. You know, you still want to have those hooks in there, you know, remind them of those things, even if they're aware of them. But then you can have like 10% off, right? Hook 2, this is like targeting product aware people, and so you really focus on like who this is for, and it's for like, again, going back to relaxation drink, it's like, or let's talk about hair product. It'd be like for women who want long-lasting, silky smooth skin, skin products, smooth skin without cuts, burns, and ingrowns, right? So you kind of go into like who this is for. This is people who are product aware audiences, right? They kind of know the product, they know about these kind of products. And so what you have to do then is you have to tell them like, well, this product is for you. So people are product aware, they know that you can have skincare for shaving or whatever. They know that, and then you kind of go like who this is for. There's people who want these things, okay? So this is product aware. And I'm going through these quickly, guys, because it's a lot. And I just recommend you get breakthrough advertising and Great Leads, honestly, because they just expand on it a lot. But just with this alone, you can go off and make things happen. But I recommend these are so important. These are such important pieces that I think you need to read into it more and go deeper on it if you want to be better business owners. So people who are like solution aware, you kind of want to now differentiate yourself with a unique mechanism, okay? So why your product solution is the best, okay? And so an example of this would be like our unique flicker tool will make sugar waxing faster, easier, nearly pain-free, no heat, no stress, you know? So it's like, you kind of have a unique mechanism for getting something. And you can, or in the relaxation beverage market, it could be like our unique kava-based formula is clinically proven to reduce stress and anxiousness without the hangover or something, you know? So the kava, if no one else has got kava in their products, you can have that unique mechanism, which is giving you that unique thing, right? Or our unique TikTok organic formula makes getting clients quicker and easier without spending any money on ads. You know, you can just kind of, if not many people are doing that for coaches, you know, so you go into another level. It's again, just finding that uniqueness to it as well. 4 is if they're problem aware. You kind of ask them if they have the problem. That's the kind of hook for the creative, along the lines of like, you know, tired of having to shave all the time or something, you know, tired of feeling stressed all the time. Again, just really problem aware. People are like, yeah, that is me. I am tired of having to shave all the time. I am tired of being stressed all the time. You know, tired, you know, if they're problem aware, they're not solution aware, you know, tired of struggling to get coaching clients, you know, that's like a problem aware thing. A lot of the times when people are solution aware, so you need the unique mechanism, but that doesn't mean you still can't put this in, okay? These are all hooks you can use in your ads and test them all out, because different segments of the market will respond to these ads. That's something I want to mention as well. Some people are maybe not be aware of TikTok or Facebook or paid ads. And so you can just say like, you know, tired of not getting coaching clients, you know, tired of not being able to grow your coaching business. And they may not be so solution aware. If they're just problem aware, then you can really kind of hook them in. You can still use that as well on other ads. Again, this isn't a science. This is kind of an art more than a science. And so you kind of have to take all these elements and work them out, test them really. And stage hook 5, this is really a direct statement of benefit with specific time frame for results. This is just another good ad you can do, which is like, you know, grow your coaching business using TikTok ads in 7 days or less or something, you know, like this is like specific direct statement of benefit with specific time frame for results. So those are kind of 5 hooks there, which is hook 1, offer with best deal, hook 2, who this is for, hook 3, why your product solution is the best, unique mechanism revealed. Hook 4 is ask if they have the problem. Hook 5 is a direct statement of benefit with specific time frame results, okay? So those are 5 hooks you can test on Facebook, right? And that's using different stages of awareness. And then obviously as well, there's elements of market sophistication in there as well. So you can test all those 5 different hooks. So hopefully that gives you an idea there. And Chad says, Google 5-stage awareness. Yep, there's gonna be lots of blog posts on it. I recommend going to the source though and reading Breakthrough Advertising, because Eugene Schwartz literally invented it. I mean, well, he didn't invent it because it's human nature and the market invented it, kind of like capitalism, so to speak. It's just like he really understood it, you know. So when Adam Smith wrote about capitalism, he just saw it happening, you know, and that's really what Eugene Schwartz did, you know. He didn't invent it. It's just what happens. The market has stages of awareness, and there's evolutions of the market as well. Through sophistication, markets get more sophisticated. It's just a natural phenomenon that happens. Eugene was just the first to kind of really put it into words. Very, very smart guy, genius, and one of the greats. So I wanted to kind of cover all that as kind of fundamental foundational stuff before we talk about Facebook ads and testing, okay? So, you know, you need basics to get started with Facebook. I'm not going to cover the basics. That's something you can get from YouTube, or Facebook has all this training on setting up your account. You know, Facebook has all this training now. All that stuff is a waste of time if I teach that, because there are hundreds, thousands of people on YouTube who talk about it, blog posts, step-by-step tutorials on setting up campaigns and all that kind of stuff. But there's a lot less people talking about what I'm going to share with you, which is really testing and getting the results, you know, really kind of ways of getting market feedback and knowing what to do. So I'm going to keep it high level, and I'll answer questions with that, but I'm going to give you like, I want to give you like a testing formula. And then I just want to talk about like simple scaling methodologies, because honestly, guys, the actual, you know, pulling the levers and twisting the knobs or whatever is far down the totem pole of importance compared to what I've already talked about, compared to the messaging, the creative, the hooks, the strategy, your positioning. All that is so much more important than running the ads themselves. And like, you know, yes, it's important, but the other, if you don't have the other stuff, it's a disaster. If you get the first stuff right, you can be a really crappy media buyer and get results. You can just run ads broad, you know, crappy targeting, don't know what you're doing, but because your offer is so unique and different, you'll actually crush it, you know. So that's why I wanted to talk about that first. Nonetheless, I will talk about actually running the ads and setting up some testing and then scaling out those testing. I'll do it in a very simplified way so you can follow it, and hopefully, you know, it's not confusing, because you can get into the weeds with all different things that Facebook can do. But again, you can just Google that if you have a question around like, what's this do on Facebook? What does this mean? Just Google it. Much easier. That's how you kind of learn as you go. So basics to get started, of course, you set your business manager, you add your credit card to the account. I don't need to go over that. That's Facebook has tutorials on that. They have blog posts on that. Setting up your pixel and events. You know, really everything you need is on Google for that as well. Alex can help you with that. His team, if you have questions there, I'm sure. Setting up stuff. The things I do want to talk about though in the setup is I want to talk about conversions API. So that is very important to set up. Okay, a lot of people aren't doing this. They're not aware of it. They're using the old method of just pixels, but you want conversions API. What conversions API are, it's Facebook's attempt at combating the iOS changes. Okay, and so what it does is, because Facebook's not allowed to track you anymore when people say no with the regular pixel method, or very small percentage of people are being tracked. Instead, now Facebook creates a conversions API. What that is, it's basically a Facebook API. I'm not a coder, I'm not a developer, but what it is, it's a way for Facebook to talk to other applications. Okay, that's what an API is, right? It's a way for Facebook to talk to other applications and vice versa. And so what it does is, you basically would use, I'll actually just show you. It's easier to show you real quick. You all need to set this up. Very important. Okay. I'm going to share my screen here. Perfect. Alex, can you see my screen? So Facebook Conversions API, you use Zapier basically to integrate. Now, there are some things that integrate directly with it, like Shopify and a few other things. But for most of you, Alex, what software are you kind of using, like ClickFunnels or Active Campaigns or?
No, we're not using either. So I think they have on there Zapier.
Yeah, so what Zapier is, Zapier is the middleman between Conversions API and then these other apps. So I just wanted to search for the pairing app that you guys.
Well, we're using Kartra.
Okay.
There you go.
So basically, when customer buys a product, it sends the funnel event to Facebook, right? So this is how you track actual sales and conversions as well, right? So I think there's other things as well. I think there's probably a leads one. Lead completes a calendar. So you can send, you need to send all these events back to Facebook and link it all up, okay? So when someone opts in, you need to set this up so it sends to Facebook. When someone buys, you send to Facebook. That's how the pixel's going to learn now. And it's absolutely essential to do. If you don't have this, your pixel is going to be dumb and not know what the hell's going on, okay? So you have to set up Conversions API with whatever software you're using. All the big names, there's over 5,000 apps that convert to Facebook. So, you know, Lead Pages has got one. You know, ClickFunnels, you already saw that.
Groove.
What's that? Groove. Groove Funnels.
Yep.
Groove Funnels has got one. So I mean, like, I'd be, if a company hasn't got this, then you need to actually, that's one reason not to use them. Okay, if they don't have this set up with Facebook, they're junk. Like every funnel company that's worth their salt has got this set up now. Okay, otherwise, yeah, you just have to change providers, change funnel builder. So, you know, just Google, you know, Facebook Conversions API, or go to zapier.com/apps/Facebook-conversions/integrations. Maybe I can put in the chat box here. You want to set that up, okay? So just make sure they have it. Chad says here, okay, cool. So Carl's given the digital version of Breaking Advertising, perfect. Great leads by Masterson and Ford. Yeah, it's the same guy. It's Michael Masterson and Mark Ford are the same person. Michael Masterson's just like pen name. His real name's Mark Ford. Good friends with Alex. A very smart guy. So that's really important. That's Facebook Conversions API. Okay, that's something you need to set up. Another thing I want to mention is third-party tracking tools. So I use Hyros. With Conversions API, you know, you're getting closer to it being fixed, but really, if you want true data, you need to use third-party tracking. You know, I use Hyros, HYROS.com. You can look at their competitors and see some other ones as well, but that's the only one I've ever used. Some people just use UTMs and Google Analytics and do it that way, but a little bit more of a tech setup. Hyros is a lot easier, and it gives you a lot more data as well with reports that the other things don't do, unless you've got some, I don't know, some whiz kid tech person who understands marketing, who can build it all out. I think that's unlikely. Usually they get in the weeds and get lost and don't give you the data you actually need. But nonetheless, if you have that, great. Otherwise, I would probably recommend something like Hyros or something, to be honest with you. Or you can try, and there are plenty of people who survive off Conversions API. I just think that you're not seeing the true data with just relying on that. You know, I think it's a handicap. If you want to have a competitive advantage against people who don't have it, then do that. Maybe you want to start with Conversions API, see if you can get profitable. But then when money starts coming in, if you want to dial things in, then I would look at something like Hyros. In the e-com space, Triple Whale is their competitor, very good product as well. Probably going to switch to those, to be honest with you, for e-com. But for the info space, Hyros is one of the market leaders. There's another one, Segmetrics as well. Segmetrics is cheaper than Hyros. Haven't used it, but wanted to mention it. So setting up test campaigns, okay? So I want to talk about that. I'm actually going to paste some rules into the chat box for you guys. Just post some rules in the chat box. I'm also going to share something with you as well. There's a workflow link there. So what you're looking at in the workflow here is just some simple testing to get going, okay? Because a lot of people ask, like, you know, what do I test? How much do I spend? What numbers am I looking for? So I'm just giving you some baseline KPIs here, which are, you know, key performance indicators, to allow you guys to like know what to do and when with your testing, okay? So this is going to be high level, and you know, you're gonna need some basic Facebook supporting training for this, like the basic stuff, like, oh, how do I set up a campaign? I click this button. Again, thousands of YouTube videos. Facebook has tutorials now as well. They have a whole Facebook training thing you can go through if you want to get Facebook certified or whatever. I think it's free actually, etc. Alex and his guys can show you. Alex knows this stuff as well for the basics. I just want to show you the kind of high level testing stuff, okay? Because this is stuff that, you know, you would struggle to find anything like this on YouTube or Google. I don't know, so specifically for what you guys are doing. You know what I mean? It's there's not going to be many people teaching this. So I just give you some rules, okay? And these are rules. They'll make more sense as you do it. But essentially, you want to spend $10 per ad set. We're going to do ABO campaigns, okay? ABO, ad set budget optimization versus campaign budget optimization, okay? We'll just focus on ABO campaigns right now. So ABO is essentially when you go into Facebook, there's a little toggle saying campaign budget optimization on. You want to turn that off. I use that for scaling. It's a bit more advanced. Don't even think it's necessary to talk about because you can get to great numbers without it right now. So I would just use ABO, okay? Ad set budget optimization. And with this video, you can look back on this video because I'm going to go over this stuff relatively fast. So you just have to keep going back, watching it, getting into Facebook, and obviously asking questions to Alex. Alex knows everything I'm talking about here. Alex knows, so him and his team can help you with specifics as well. But I wanted to share this and put it as a video that you guys can refer back to time and time again. So don't panic, because it's a lot, you know, it's a whole skill set. Media buying and Facebook is a whole skill set, and it's overwhelming. I remember when I first launched my first Facebook ad, I was like shaking, you know, I was like so nervous about it, and I put so much emphasis on it being successful, which you shouldn't really do. You should really kind of detach yourself from the outcome as much as you can, and just work the process, and just like, I'm learning here. Yes, I want results, but just don't detach yourself emotionally from the outcome as much as you can, and just look at it logically, like you're learning a skill and you're developing that skill. And again, having all the stuff I talked about in place is going to be really important to be different. If you're not different, you're like everyone else, you're going to really struggle with this, and you're going to wonder what happened, you know? So $10 per, so basically the Facebook campaign works like this. Again, very basic stuff, but there's a campaign level, an ad set level, and an ad level, okay? If you've never run Facebook ads, you're like, whoa, what just happened? I don't even know what you mean. That it will all make sense as you kind of get in the weeds with it. And I do recommend maybe watching some basic Facebook ad training on YouTube, whatever, you know, campaign structure training, the Facebook stuff, just kind of like, you know, learn it, get involved in it. And then eventually this training will make a lot more sense to you, especially if you're new, because this isn't, I don't want to waste time with basics here. It's, there's so much other training out there for that. It's a waste of time. So this is campaign level, ad set level, and ad level. Okay, so you have campaigns, ad sets, and ads. Essentially, based on that, what you want to do is you have $10 per ad set, because on a campaign budget optimization, you're telling how much you want to spend on the campaign level, but we want to do the ad set level, which is inside the campaigns. Okay. So you want to do $10 per ad set. You want to run it 48 to 72 hours. In fact, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna come down to this first because I want to, for those of you who have never done this before, I'm gonna take one step back. So this is the testing sequence that I use, right? So it's a conversion campaign, which they call them sales campaigns now, with the goal to get leads. Okay. So what I would do is in a funnel where you're doing a VSL and you have leads, applications, and then sales, I would first launch with leads. I would try and get cheap leads first of all, which are opt-ins, people to watch your VSL. I would focus on that first. So I would do conversion slash, really they call it a sales campaign now. So it's a sales campaign and then there's conversions. And you want the goal, you want the event to be leads, okay? And in this, you want to, in all of these campaigns, you want to use the same age, country, and placement, okay? Same age, country, and placement. And so campaign 1 will have ad copy 1, and it can be video or image 1, right? So you may want to do a video ad or an image ad. To be, you know, depending on what you're selling, if it requires quite a lot of information, and it's like, I probably recommend a video. But you should test everything. You know, you can still get image ads to work. And what I'm seeing people do is successfully, and we just started testing it now, I don't have any data, but people are actually loading up the ads, the creative with videos and images. You have like 10 spots to load up on an ad. So I see people just like throwing in one method, which my buddy showed me the other day. Jason Horning, he's a media buyer, and he has like a Facebook group or whatever. It's like $100 a year or something, and he just kind of teaches people. But he's been a media buyer for years. He did like Sam Evans' ads and whatever. And he showed me, he's over my house the other day, and he showed me something cool they're doing. And what they're doing is those 5 types of hooks that I talked about earlier, those stages of awareness, they're putting them all in to each ad. So there's 10 spots for videos and images. They're cramming them with all different things. And then there's different spots for amount of text you can use. You can split test text. But what he's doing is he's putting all these 5 different stages of awareness in this one ad and letting Facebook figure it out. So Facebook then does the work for you. Again, you need Conversions API turned on, otherwise it's going to not know what the hell's working or not. But then Facebook does all the work for you. So they're cramming that in. So I wanted to mention that, a bit more advanced, but something you can do as well. That's a little brand new strategy that I haven't seen anyone doing apart from him, and something that we just started testing now. This is a lot more simple. And to be honest with you, his strategy is better when you do this first, because what he says is you want to put in proven pieces of copy into it to make it happen. Otherwise, it's a bit of a mess. You want to start off with like proven creative, and this is how to find proven creative. Okay, so campaign 1 is ad copy 1, and then video or image 1. Okay, so it's just one thing. Then in each ad set, so every single ad set has that. That's the standard. And then all you do is you have 5 different ad sets with different interests, okay, different audiences, okay? When you're starting out, they're going to be different interests. Eventually, it's going to be different lookalikes, okay? But so just 5 different audiences, okay? And so let's just say we're targeting coaches and consultants. Interest 1 would be Frank Kern. Interest 2 would be Tony Robbins. Interest 3 would be Russell Brunson. Interest 4 would be Alex Jeffries. Interest 5 would be Michael Same, whatever, right? But in that campaign, there's 5 ad sets. They're all going to have the same ad copy and image, okay? Because what we're doing is we're testing one piece of copy against 5 different audiences to see if it connects. If it doesn't work with 5 of those audiences, especially if you know they work, then it's probably, maybe the creative isn't going to survive too well, okay? Because it's not worked on anything. So we're giving that creative a chance to be shown to different people, okay? Campaign 2, you then change the creative, change the image, and now you use the same interests. Frank Kern, Tony Robbins, Alex Jeffries, Michael Same. So now we're testing a new creative on the same audience, what we're trying to do, we're trying to find a combination, and we're allowing them to like run against each other and just see like which one works. Campaign 3, same thing, but now it's a different ad, different creative, different image, and we are running against those interests. Okay, so that's essentially what we're doing at a high level. And you
That's
can
good.
do.
Can I ask you a quick question? I see a test, because this is different. You know how I've got it structured. You're testing different. You're changing 2 variables in each of them, right? The ad and the video or image.
So in campaign 1, the ad copy and video and image stays the same. So calling this ad 1 is just this.
Yep.
This could really be like,
Yep.
creative 1. You know what I mean? You can even delete that. You know, just.
Yeah,
you can just call it interest 1, creative 1, and then it'd be interest 2, creative 2, and interest 3, creative 1.
I'm just curious. Sorry to interrupt people with this, but we're going to come down here. How do you know if ad 2 works or image 2 works? Because I'm just curious.
So what, text or image?
Yeah. So like, how would I know if campaign 2 works? Would it be the ad that's working or the image that's working? Or does that go to another layer where you start testing again further?
You can test again, but to be honest, you're just looking for a winning combination. Okay. And so what you can do as well, which is something that I'll talk about, it's a little bit more complex, but when you have that one video, right? It's like one video, right? Let's say you're testing one video. Then you have different options for headlines, different options for text. You can split test those if you want as well. And I would just call it like ad 1, ad copy 1, but really it could be like ad copy 1, A plus 1B, whatever, right?
Keep it simple for here. All I was getting at is like, where you normally do things, I would have thought you would have had like, campaign 1, ad copy 1, image 1, campaign 2, ad copy 2, image 1. And you would have only changed the ad, not the ad and the image. That's all.
Sometimes I'll do that, sometimes I'll do that. It depends if the image, or if I'm testing different hooks. So generally I'm testing different hooks. And so the image is matched to that hook.
Yeah, I got you.
And so if I'm not testing different hooks and I'm just testing images, yes, you're right. I would do that way. But this is like start out, don't know anything, don't know any hooks, nothing. It's like I'm probably doing different text, and I'm like, I'll probably take a video and then I'll write a hook around the video. And then video 2 will be a different hook, and I'll write text around that, so it makes more sense. Sometimes though, if I'm like, do you know what? I really like this copy, and I think it works, or I think it's gonna work, I will keep that the same, and I'll only change the video. Does that make sense? It kind of depends on the depends on the campaign, and if it has to be congruent, if the text is congruent, I can get away with it, then I'll
make sense with the congruency. You hit the nail on the head. So for everybody here, this here is great. So I'll let him carry on. I was just curious because he's, when you change something, you want to just change one thing, not 2 things, but it makes sense now that he's looking really for the congruency as he changes. He wants to find one of them that works and then build from there. So cool. Thanks.
Yeah. Usually it's like a creative piece and there's a hook around it, and then the video image is congruent with it. Yeah. And if I can just change the video and keep the same copy and be congruent, I may do that as well, to be honest with you. But if I'm like clueless and I'm like, man, I don't know what works, I don't know this market, I'm throwing out different text, videos, I'm just like letting Facebook kind of figure it out, and I'll do like the split test, we can add a variable and I'll just throw 5 headlines against the wall, and then you go in Facebook and see which one got the highest click-throughs, but yeah, that's a little bit, I'm trying to keep it basic. This is the kind of standard level. This is all you need to get going, guys, because what's more important is your hook, your offer, your creative, and your positioning, you know, and you know, that's going to be more important than anything here, being unique. All this stuff then is just, you can get more pedantic with it and you can go deeper on it, but I just kind of squeezing the last drop out of it, you know. But if you have a ripe fruit that hasn't been squeezed before, a fresh market with a unique offer, it's like just juice is flying out of it, right? You haven't got to squeeze too hard.
Yeah.
So I got on that juice analogy there. So the rules, okay? The rules around this. So $10 per ad set. See all these ad sets here? There's 5 ad sets each campaign. So it's like this. $10 per ad set, right? And it keeps going down. We're looking at 3 campaigns, that's $150 a day in spend, okay? If you haven't got that much, then you need to cut a campaign and it's just gonna take longer, okay? But I really, $10 is the lowest you really want to be spending on an ad set. Arguably more. But $10 is the rock bottom, all right? The reason is $10 is because after like, you want to give it like 48 to 72 hours, right? You want to be spending like 20, 30 bucks. And in that, you want to be seeing if you get a lead, you know, at least 1 lead. That's why we do. Want to give it a little time. Sometimes like there's good days and bad days. You know, there's some days where it's like nothing, just like what the heck happened here. But it all balances out over time if you have the right campaigns, okay? And so you have to look at it over like 3-day averages. You can't just look at 1 day. That's why if I'm just testing, I'm just like, right, let's throw some campaigns. Let's put 10 bucks on each ad set, and let's see what happens. Now, this is because we're looking for leads right now. That's what we're really looking for. We're not even looking for applications. Well, we're looking at applications soon. We'd love applications. We'd love people calling, but right now we're just getting that. We're just trying to figure out the ad, the landing page, and the audiences. We just want to get that because we can't get the cheap leads, and the applications are going to be expensive, right? So this is like, maybe a funnel isn't perfectly dialed, but if we can get the cheap leads, now we can like, okay, we need to fix the VSL, right? We need to fix the sales process, right? But it starts with like the cheaper leads, or leads that are the least expensive in the beginning, to figure out that messaging, to get that awareness, get that attention, to pull people from Facebook into your funnel. That's stage 1, and that's what we're talking about here. So, you know, run it for 48 to 72 hours. If it doesn't bring in a lead for less than $20 in that time, you cut it, turn it off, you turn the ad set off, okay? Turn it off. Not the campaign, just the ad set. Because on ABO, we're looking at the ad sets really carefully here. And we're treating these campaigns like their own ad sets. And each ad set just has 1 ad in, okay? Just 1 ad. In that ad, you can have split testing and tests and different creative technically, but we're just focused on 1 ad. You know, in the campaign, there's 5 ad sets, and in each ad set, there's 1 ad. So there's 5 ads total in the campaign because there's 1 ad in each ad set, okay? But with this, all the ads are going to be the same, just duplicating the ads, but only changing the interest at the ad set level, okay? Just changing the audience. I could even change it to say audience 1, audience 2, audience 3, audience 4, audience 5, because when you have things other than interests, then you'll be testing it. And some things you just go broad, you do no targeting, you do demographics. You know? We've seen a lot of success going broad once the pixel has learned. That's something that I tried it in the beginning when I first launched a campaign, went broad, and it just didn't really work that well. Even though we have kind of a mass market product, it didn't work that well. And then I kind of left it. I was at a lunch with a media buyer guy. The guy spends over a bunch of campaigns, over a bunch of accounts. He spends like 7 figures a month on ads. And I was like, so, you know, what have you learned in the last like 6 months that has like changed things for you? How have you got massive success? What big takeaways have you learned in media buying? And he was like, oh, we paid this guy, this media buyer. They paid him like 10 grand for a phone call, an hour phone call. This guy runs huge campaigns for like, you know, global brands. And they paid him for an hour, and he said the thing that we got from it mostly was that test broad. So once you're up and running, do broad, because a lot of people do broad in the beginning. It doesn't work like I did, and then it's like, screw broad, it doesn't work. But then I came back to it 3 months later when my very seasoned pixel, the pixels learned a lot because I'm using conversions API, sending the sales back to Facebook, right? I ran broad, and it's become our lowest customer acquisition cost. It's like amazing, and the scale is much bigger as well because we're just letting Facebook have one of.
And let me just so everybody understands, broad is where there is no interest there. So see where it says interest, you just don't put an interest in. Once Facebook's pixels learned and it's generating you leads and applications, you just say broad and let Facebook run for the audiences, and it works better than actually putting your own interest in. So Facebook's becomes smarter than us, always has been. But yeah, it's pretty incredible how we run like some big campaigns when we're doing the seminars ad for the broad, you know, like the $10,000 day ones were on the broad, you know, like no tracking. They were the best ones. So I've seen it firsthand too.
Yeah, it's you just let Facebook do its thing, and the algorithm do its thing, and the conversions API just keeps training it basically, and it's very nice. It's got the most scale, and you can add some demo. Obviously, you want to add like US or whoever your target country in, but aside from that, it's even questionable to put the agent. To be honest with you, just for true broad, just let Facebook do its thing, because every change you make and every time you narrow something down, there was some guy called it the picky tax, Facebook's picky tax. The more picky you are, the more Facebook charges you. So if you start narrowing stuff down, like, oh, I want someone with, you know, one leg and a dog and who lives in, you know, Kentucky with, you know, who has credit score over 650 and an annual income over 500,000, and they went to college, and, you know, the more stuff you add in, the more expensive. One, it narrows it down, and the more expensive it gets. So I was being facetious with half of that, like what I said, but that's where broad can work really well. And people always say, what about this? What about that? Like the answer, and everyone always says this, and it's not an answer you want, but it's like, just test it, you know? Does this work? Does that work? You know, does CBO work better than ABO? Does broad work better than interest? Should I stack the lookalikes? Should I not do lookalikes? Test it, you know, like as cliche as it is, some things work on some accounts better than others. That's not, every account is different. Every account's pixel has been seasoned differently. Facebook treats every account differently. I've seen accounts that scale easier and accounts that scale harder. That's why you can do some scaling where it's like, if you're struggling to scale on one account, you can open a new account and you can like try and scale on that. You know, I've seen people do, you know, real horizontal scaling to accounts, you know, and which is interesting. You'd never think it, but when you get into the big numbers, people try everything, because every account's like a snowflake. There's no two accounts that are the same. It's more machine learning, and so it's all been organically created into this unique snowflake, and they all act differently. However, the fundamentals do not change, but something to bear in mind. Some things work better on other accounts. Some things work better, and you know, it's weird. It just is what it is. I don't think even Facebook understands it sometimes because of the AI. So if another rule, if the ad set cost, you know, click-through rate, if the ad set click-through rate, all, and link, click-through rate link, right, is really low within 24 hours and it hasn't brought in a lead, cut. Really low is below 1% CTR all. Okay. That's really low. If the CPM is super high, you know, which is cost per 1,000 impressions, cost per milli, I believe, cost per milli, cost per 1,000 impressions is super high after 24 hours and hasn't brought a lead, cut. Okay. So again, this stuff is a little bit more advanced. It's not that advanced, but it's assuming you've run Facebook ads, okay? And you've at least looked inside the platform. Again, Alex can fill in the gaps with what I'm saying here another time. If you guys have questions on the Q&A, right? You cut over $100, and these are the numbers to aim for, okay? You want a click-through rate all. What a click-through rate all means is anyone who's clicked the ad, it can even just see more, show more, learn more, whatever, just anywhere. They can even click to your page. Doesn't mean they click to your website. CTR link click percentage is people who've clicked the link, okay, and gone to your website. You want that to be over 1%. These are minimum numbers, guys. These are like minimum. Really, you want this to be 5 or 6 and this to be over 2%, okay? These are like minimum. Cost per lead for a video funnel, you want $10 to $15, okay? $10 to $15 cost per lead for your video funnel, like VSL funnel. Applications, you want less than $200, okay? Really aim for that. CPM, which is cost per 1,000 impressions, because Facebook works on an impression basis, okay? You pay for impressions, all right? So every 1,000 impressions, it'll say an amount. So let's say the CPM is $100. Every 1,000 impressions, that means your ad showing up on someone's screen. That's $100, okay? And you want it less than $100 if possible. Some markets are different. A new account may be really high. So this is something to mention. If you're a brand new account, you can get $150 CPM. You want to see that start to come down, okay? The more Facebook trusts you, the more Facebook sees that you're not a scammer, and then people aren't like, you know, marking you as spam, and the more people that actually like your products. What happens is Facebook does these little surveys now. So they say like, did you purchase this product? Did you purchase from this company? If you click an ad, they may show you, did you purchase this company? What did you like? Did you like it? Was it good? Was it bad? Would you recommend it? And so Facebook now is taking all this data, because all they care about is they care about the customer experience. If people come on Facebook and have a bad experience and get scammed, now everyone's like, screw Facebook. I just got scammed on Facebook. Facebook's a scam, you know, it's a scammy place. I'm never going there again. So that's what Facebook really want to avoid. And so that's why they're really careful now with making sure that they like brands, they like good stuff. You know, they want to make sure that people are happy on there. And that's why you should look at the Facebook terms of service for ads. Google it, Facebook advertising terms of service, look at all the prohibited stuff, and make sure you don't have like sensationalist content. They don't like highly negative stuff. So they want it to be positive, which in advertising, when you're solving a problem, it's hard to be positive because the problem is usually a negative thing. So you can't go really negative in terms of screw on things as much in the ad. You can do that more in the VSL, but in the ad and the lander, you've got to be kind of more benefit driven, offer driven, solution driven versus like hardcore. You can have a little problem stuff in there, like I talked about with the question, you know, feeling stress question mark. Yeah, it's about as harsh as you can get, you know. You can't go too negative. You can't be like, stress kills. Stress is the #1 killer in America. You know, you can have a heart attack unless you fix this thing really quickly, you know, whatever, right? You can't say that. That stuff works really well. Fear works really well to motivate people, but you really have to be careful of doing that on Facebook, all right? You can get away with it on YouTube. You can get away with a lot on YouTube, but Facebook, not so much. And that's it. Those are the rules, guys. That's the testing. Those are the rules. What I want to share with you before we wrap up, couple ways. So let's just say you run those tests, you have some winners, right? You see, okay, I've got some winning audiences and winning campaigns. What you're doing now is you're like, right, I'm going to take that winning campaign. You can basically horizontally scale. So you take that winning creative, right? The winning creative, and horizontally scale by showing the ads to more audiences, okay? And I put static and dynamic. And so static audience is something, a lookalike that is based on an uploaded list, okay? So try not to get into the weeds here. But what you can do on Facebook is you can upload a customer list or an email list, and you can tell Facebook, find me people that look like this. Or that's a static list, because that list doesn't change unless you change it and add to it. A dynamic list is something like, hey, Facebook, find me look like people who purchased in the last 180 days. Okay, ads to more audiences, right? Take that creative, you show ads to more audiences, and you vertically scale by increasing the budget. So you've got a creative that's working and an audience that's working, right? And you want to scale that. You don't want to, you can show it to more audiences and you can scale that. You increase the budget by 10 to 20% per day, and you do it at midnight and use Facebook automation tools, okay? So what you can do on Facebook automation tools is you can go in, you type in Facebook automation tools, how it works. You can go in, you can say, increase the budget at midnight, X%, okay? You can put in like 10, 20, 30%, as much as you want. I recommend doing that 10, 20% every day, as long as you want to scale it, as long as it keeps working. Or you can scale it like, 30% maybe every 3 days or something like that. You can kind of do that as well if you want to bump it up. I can maybe even argue up to 50% jump, or 100% if you're really low. Because realistically, if you're only spending like $10 a day in an ad set, you can bump that to 20, not a big deal. It's really when it gets into like the high hundreds, thousands per ad set that you really want to make sure it's 10 to 20% a day, okay? If it's $10, you can probably go 10 to 20 to 40 to 50, up to 100. And then, you can then go 120, 140 for, you can kind of go up to 20% a day then, but up to 100, you can probably just double it, to be honest with you, because it's not going to really break anything. It's more when like you're getting into the bigger numbers, make big shifts, and then Facebook algorithms like, whoa, hey, we need to spend this money somehow. Like now you throw me off a little bit. They try and look for that stuff. Okay, so it's just two ways to scale winning creative. Okay, the basic ways. And one more resource I want to show you is if you have account quality issues and you see stuff that gets shut down or something. Go to business.facebook.com/account quality, okay? And that link is here, business.facebook.com/account quality. And that's a good link to have if you're having issues with Facebook. You can go to this link, I'll put it in the chat box, and it will show you any issues on your account you can appeal against and make sure everything is okay. So that's it, guys. That's the Facebook training. Obviously, what we've covered is positioning. We've covered strategy, differentiation. We've covered different ways of creative hooks, and then we've talked about testing, and then some basic scaling. I've kept that very high level, but that's what you do. How to do it stuff, you can go and Google that, YouTube, or obviously speak to Alex and he can show you. Alex knows how to do all of this as well. So.
Amazing, man. Thank you so much. That was pretty bloody good, Adam. So here's what I want to just recap before we wrap it up. So Adam taught me sales. I was doing sales before working with Adam, but he definitely taught me to be confident on the phone. I was able to watch him doing sales, and I learned, a tremendous amount from Adam. So, what he said was, we both can get on the phone with a lead that isn't very good and really, quote unquote, manipulate the person into buying using judo of language. But that's not really scalable. So, you can do it. And it's good to have that skill of sales, but it's so much better to have a buyer come into the phone. And like he said, we were selling a $9,000 package together and struggling. And then we changed the offer and we were selling $14,000 packages with ease. The price went up and the ease of sale went up. So he covered some things, really the pivot that all of us need to take, because, we're all in this game. Like Adam, he mentioned that like his pivot was that he's in the drinks business and he's just gone from, 2 back-to-back nightmares in the business to pivot into, instead of creating the drink and shipping a drink, he's now shipping the powder, and you make the drink yourself. And as soon as he told me, I'm like, bro, that's like the best pivot I've ever heard you talk about. Because the nightmares he was under with the actual liquid being sent out, the cost of it, the margins, it's like, I'm like, if anybody can make this business work, it's you. Like, believe in him fully, but like, fuck, bro, you're up against it with this drink business. And it's a very expensive business. And this one pivot, taking it from a drink to a powder, it's like, wow, you know, it could really just, you know, take the business off. So there's this pivot that gets the wind from your face to behind you. That's what we're all looking for, is that wind in our sails, not, you know, in our face. So, you know, he spoke about, you know, focusing on the creative. He was, you know, before he spoke about Facebook, he spoke for like 90 minutes on the most important stuff, like the creative, connecting with the person, like pulling the levers, and that what he just showed you is really simple stuff. And in fact, what he showed you with the Facebook, I'll start there first. That campaign structure he just showed is so good to use and so good to follow. And it takes a bit of time to, you know, just to go through and learn Facebook. But he mentioned Jordan Menard, the guy who did the belts, you know, sold all the belts. And he's like, you know, such a good advertiser. Like, he rates, so he's a huge, you know, well-known, really, really well-regarded media buyer. And he rates me as a media buyer. He's looked at my account and he's looked and he said, you are really good at it. Well, Adam taught me, and I use that philosophy there. Like, that's what you saw, and it makes it really simple. So, you know, just really like stick to that and keep it simple like that. But he talked about that aside, he talked about, you know, the creative and then the strategy behind that. Like, no more feast or famine. You know, the winning combo is looking at the creative, making sure you have the audience. Like, Facebook's building those for you. So it's the lander, the funnel, testing, making sure you're testing different ones. You know, play prospect out there, you know, go and look what other people are doing. Like, see how you can be different. Ask that question. Why should somebody buy from us rather than anyone else? Honestly, you know, I got a meeting at 11 o'clock with Carl tomorrow. That's the first question I'm going to ask. Let's forget about all this other marketing stuff. Let's answer this question. Then we'll write the marketing off. That's that response. Something that he breezed over quickly, which, you know, Adam, I'm going to be pestering you about, is cold email. And I may then bring that back around to this group here, but that's something that, you know, it's he just breezed over it, but like, that's something that, you know, he's really focused on. I'm going to be pestering him about that. I want to learn it. I've got a call tomorrow night with a company looking at doing it for them. He spoke about just uniqueness, you know, just, you know, so a unique offer. And it just comes down to market research. You know, when you get punched in the face on the phone and they say no, find out why. And just listen to that market and just realize what you're up against. Oh, it's this. And then change the offer slightly based on what you're hearing. And, you know, it's like, for us, we have to make a little shift now ourselves. We're going to use the same program, all the stuff in the background will be the same. We're just going to make a shift on the front. Like Adam said, we had a coaching program before, and all we did was say, yeah, we're going to have done with you service. So we'll build it with you, and a done for you funnel. And it took off. We went from just like, oh my God, this is so difficult, to, oh my gosh, we're making so much money. So I just thought I'd give a little recap there. Adam, amazing, amazing training. I learned a lot myself. I always learn from you, just pages of notes, bro. So thank you.
Love it. You're welcome, guys. Yeah. Any questions before we wrap up? I know there's questions on the way here.
Yeah, I think they're all happy.
Cool.
Thank you, my brother. Perfect.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Appreciate you, my friend. Thank you so much for spending this time with us. I know you're busy.
Absolutely. Stay different, guys. Take care.
Bye-bye. I like that. Stay different. Right. Jen. Okay, Catherine, Tanya, I'm going to go. Jen, I'll meet you on the other Zoom link I sent you in the messenger. Thanks.